Afternoon from Bambalapitiya and welcome to this much awaited day. It's not the start of the 2023 league, but it might as well be because we have what could have been a decider as one of our first weekend games here live on the Papare.com, the school season 2023, coming to you live from the St. Peter's grounds at Bambalapitiya as we look out at this wonderful expanse of a ground that has been refurbished just for this Peterite side who are having big ambitions today. And of course for the rest of the season. We've kicked off this season in superlative fashion with an outstanding game between St. Anthony's and St. Joseph's up in Bogambara in Kandy, and if that match is anything to go by, we should have a blockbuster on the cards between two recent rivals, St. Peter's and Royal, who have been outstanding in their fixtures in the recent past. These are the two teams that we'll be seeing in action today, and joining me in the commentary box for this afternoon's clash, Abdullah Yusuf and Sudarshana Piris, live on the Papare.com. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Very good afternoon to you, Shanak, and very good afternoon to all our viewers on the Papare.com. Definitely going to be a crack-a-lacking encounter, blockbuster game in the opening week itself, as we see the Royalists taking the field.
The Royalists led by Dushant Leuke in the cap, pointing instructions, last-minute instructions, of course. He's a shrewd tactician, but he's also hugely a fan of preparation, Abdullah, and this Royal team will come out of the blocks firing.
Yes, good evening, everyone. No doubt about that, Shanaka. It's a big game, not just in the context of the season, but could very well prove to be a vital game in the context of the league as well. Because you've got to keep in mind that it's just the top two in each group that will go into that super round. So this game will be very crucial for both teams, and I just think that they'll be just keen to get that big W, isn't it? They won't be probably too concerned with regard to the performance because it's the first game of the season, and I think we are in for a lot of suspense in this game.
Let's not forget that we're back with this live action after just over a couple of years break due to COVID, of course, and we all remember what that was like. Not something that rugby fans like to see, certainly not something these players like to see. We've had a couple of generations, well, not generations, but a couple of batches of players who've been deprived of an outstanding finish to their school rugby career, but fortunately these set of players won't be that won't be taken away from them as we see the rains coming down here at Bambalapitiya as well. You can see those dark clouds up in the horizon, but there is a clear sky next to it, which is helpful. The rain is not too heavy, but we should be able to see a good game of rugby on our hands with the ground softening just a little bit. 14 kilometers per hour is the wind speed, and whoever marshals that wind will be in a prime position. Abdullah, difficult ground to play at. I don't know if you played here during your school career, but it takes a little bit of getting used to for the visiting team.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's where the Peterites will definitely have an advantage. As we just run through the scores of the first two games that have happened so far, St. Anthony's causing an upset of sorts, beating the Josephians in Bogambara 22 points to 12, and then Vidyartha pulling a close one off against Science. You have to give a lot of credit to the Science lads. It's been a pretty hard build-up for them, but they really gave the Vidyartha lads a real run for their money, and you can just see, Shanaka, from those score lines as well, what a close league this is going to be as this tournament progresses.
Certainly is, and I think St. Anthony's set the cat among the pigeons. St. Joseph's were not overwhelming favourites, but one of the favourites going into this season, and that win has really given a lot of confidence not only to St. Anthony's but also to the other teams watching, saying that anybody is susceptible in this league, Sudarshana.
Absolutely, Shanak, especially given that the second game was so very close as well. A brace of tries by Gayan Pereira from Vidyartha College in the last 10 minutes, making that look a little more comfortable than it was for Vidyartha College. Science College, hats off to them for playing out of their skin. But a couple of more games coming up as well other than this one. Today is going to be a very busy day where we start off with Oliver Gunathilaka Shield in Mount Lavinia, whereas St. Thomas's are taking on Wesley College, and on in Bogambara as well, Dharmaraj College facing Trinity. So that's going to be the first hometown clash for Kandy schools. Will be an interesting one.
Certainly will be. Dharmaraja champions way back in 2013, so they could mark their 10-year anniversary of their last league title, maybe with a win against Trinity, who are not playing at Pallakali. They'll be going to Bogambara. and they've never beaten Trinity, Dharmaraja, not even in that league winning season. And St. Thomas's with a slippery start, and I say slippery because that big club ground that they're hosting Wesley at could be a bit of a nightmare to play in if the weather continues to be like this. But Wesley has looked very good in the sevens and in the lead up to this season. Abdullah, that's not going to be an easy game for the Thomians at all.
Yes, I think it will be a close game, but you'd have to say that St. Thomas's probably have a slight advantage considering the fact that they're playing at home. As we have a look at the background, that cloud looks much more threatening than it actually is. Let's just hope that it's a passing cloud and the wind just takes it away. There was a slight drizzle. It seems to have eased up a bit now. Let's hope that the weather stays good, because don't want the underground conditions to be too muddy. It could then just turn into a bit of a forward scrap. The Peterites have got some very elusive three-quarters in their ranks, isn't it, Chanaka? So I'm sure they would prefer to have a dry ball in their hands when they play this game.
We could see a little bit of kicking coming into the picture just because of this rain. And I'm sure, knowing that the monsoons have been coming, both sets of coaches would really have prepared that. And we will look forward to seeing how these players handle these conditions as well as we come back on the Papare.com in just a few moments.
Your embrace so warm, with one more bite of Revelo for sunshine. Don't wanna miss this pouring rain, pleasing my soul, with one more bite of Revelo for the rain. This freedom takes me north, but I have never been. With one more bite of Revelo for love, never felt this good. With one more bite of Revelo for love.
ඕනම දෙයක් කරන්න විදියක් තියෙනවා. ඒ තමයි තමන්ගේ විදිය. ජීවිතය අත්විඳින්න, ආත්ම විශ්වාසයෙන් නැගී සිටින්න. බෝල්ඩ් ඔපම වෙන්න.
හිත තාල නැත වෙන වන්නිනිම වින්නුනා සරදාවී අතනාරි කොප්තුමි පන්තමා කොප්තුමි පන්තමා ස්ක්‍රීමා කොප්තුමි පන්තමයි. ඕගොල්ලොත් එන්නේ ඉවෙන්ට් එකට. ඩ්‍රෙස් කෝඩ් එක බ්ලැක්.
Black? No problem. නව වැඩි දියුණු කළ ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් ඇක්ටිව් ක්ලිම්බසෝල් පළමු සේදීමෙන්ම ඉස්සොරි ඉවත් කරයි. ස්වභාවික සාරයන් හිස පෝෂණය කරයි.
නටමුද?
No problem.
හැමදාම ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් නම්
හැමදාම no problem.
ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් හිස නිදහසේ ඉදිරියට.
Hey, have you heard about Z?
We KYC.
Easy.
Mobile banking. Crazy.
Education loans and salary advances.
Amazing. Introducing the Digital Youth Account. NDBZ. NDBZ from NDB Bank. The future is banking on us.
Coloma, beautiful outside and inside.
Introducing NeosPay, a fun way to make payments from your Neos app. For the fun of paying, #NeosPaid.
Coloma, beautiful outside and inside. Coloma, beautiful outside and inside.
Enjoy the infinite possibilities of the freedom of space, inspired by the beauty of our land. Sri Lanka's finest finished, largest sized porcelain tile collection, Majestica. Lanka Tiles, fine living, redefined.
ඕනම දෙයක් කරන්න විදියක් තියෙනවා. ඒ තමයි තමන්ගේ විදිය. ජීවිතය අත්විඳින්න. ආත්ම විශ්වාසයෙන් නැගී සිටින්න. ගෝල්ඩ් ඔපම වෙන්න.
චීස් රසට යාළුව සෙට් එක ස්මයිලි බෙදනවා. ඕන වෙලාවක ස්නැක් එක දැක්කම හිත ෆික්ස් වෙනවා. සරට කැමති අය දවස පුරාවට සැරයිල්ලනවා. කැලිප්සු මික්ස් එක ඕන වෙලාවක නැගලම යනවා. බෝරින් ලයිෆ් එක බ්‍රේක් අප් කරගෙන සල්ස නටනවා. ලුණු රටාවට අනියන් කික් එක ෆුල් හැපනින් වෙනවා. මංචි රටටම රස බෙදෙන මංජි රස බලකාය දැන් අලුත් වෙලා.
We're back live at the Bambalapitiya grounds, looking across at the Reverend Father Joey Vikramasinghe Pavilion. And we have a couple more pavilions, of course, on either side of this ground behind the goalposts as the Peterite hosts look to welcome their team onto their home grounds for the first time this season. You're watching Peters versus Royal live on the Papare.com. In the commentary box with me, Abdullah Yusuf and Sudarshana Piris, kicking off the first weekend of this 2023 season that has been a long time coming, and many people have been waiting with bated breath for, as the Peterites come out as the hosts, looking to get their first win on their home grounds against a team, Abdullah, that doesn't go away easily.
Yeah, that's right, Shanaka. The Peterites definitely will want to make amends for their last year's performances. By their standards, it was not the best of seasons. So they will definitely will want to put up a better show this year. And in that context, this first game is so crucial. Royal, on the other hand, will probably be a bit disappointed having missed out on the league last year. So sure they'll want to make amends in their own way as well. And so that's why, as we were discussing earlier, this first game is so crucial in that context. And the team that just manages to get a win, regardless of the performance, will carry so much momentum for the remainder of the season.
Sudarshana, we've seen a lot of chat about the teams. You've been going to each school and having a look. What is your feel? Who do you think are the front runners this season?
Well, interesting one there, Shanika, because I think there are about 3 to 4 schools who really put their hand up. But this game is going to have so much impetus on how the season will go. Peterites are here to redeem themselves, especially given the fact that last season didn't go as to plan for them. And Royal, on the other hand, are generally slow starters. We know that. Even last season, they did not perform to their utmost in the opening encounters. They only picked up pace during the season. They even lost to Trinity in their tournament game, despite managing to go all the way and push Isipatana in that virtual playoff for the league. So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out. But to answer your question, couple of schools, of course, the defending champions Isipatana College looks like a force to be reckoned with, and these two teams, I think, will have ambitions, aspirations on the league title.
You're judiciously quiet about Trinity's chances. They were quite good in the sevens, Sudarshana, and would we see that translating onto the 15s, do you think?
It'll be interesting to see, because Trinity, I think, have a very young side, and they'll be hoping that they can get their system in place with the new coaching staff coming in as well. So if they can get a good start, yes, that'll be a team to watch out as well. But how about the Antonians with their performance in the first game, with a mercurial fly-off like that? You can win games just with one player, but your territorial kicking is only as good as your chasing, and the Antonian Uyghurs really put their head down and chase in that first game, and I think they are going to be one of those dark horses who can trouble any team.
Plenty of supporters' jerseys in the crowd today as the administrators of St. Peter's look on. It's a time that the hairs stand on end, the goosebumps on the players. It's a moment they've been preparing for many, many months. Finally comes to fruition. The next 70 minutes, we will see these men. Kavinash Srikanth, Idris Farooq, Tinath Gamage in the front row, Yahan Veerasurya, Binindha Malalagama. In the second row, Bhuwaneka Senanayaka, Yovindu Athulgala, Tanveer Hassan will make up the back row for Royal. Simak Shafiq, Thiven Pereira, Randul Senanayaka, the captain. Filio Kalyanaratne at number 13. Dulja Gamanayaka, who is the big man on the wing, on the left wing, Samidu Patrana on the right wing, and Nabil Yahya bringing up the last line of defence for Royal. Abdul Rahman, Yehen, Pabasara, Ayash, Shahid, Chetan, Amka and Charuka will be off the bench.
A lot of experience for the Royalist there as we take a look at the Pete Rights, Raniturid Mal, Metusara, Vishmika, Jahan, Veerabangsa, Pawan Himansa, Sheniko Pereira, Aiden Fernando, Ashane Madugaspe, the skipper for St. Peter's College, Dulaj Navodya, Salita Kalage, Vinda Timel, Sujesh Chaivik from last year's skipper coming into the centre position, Numet Shihara, the other centre, Suleiman Riaz, Pasidu Bandar, and keep an eye out on that Kushan Thariduhurs, who will be making a lot of plays from that number 15 jersey. Sachin, Akash, Indrajit, Praneeth, Isansa, Emit, Tarusha and Vishankar are the replacements for the Pete Rights.
What we're not seeing in that graphic, Sudarshan, of course, is the battle between the two coaches. We have Dushant Luke coming up against Sanat Martis, his former mentor. And that's going to be an interesting battle. Both men know each other so well. They know the styles of play that each other likes as well. So that's going to add a layer of battle to this context.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about that, Chanaka, because both these men will not want to bow down to each other. Because in the club arena as well, when their two teams went head-to-head, Havelock Sports Club and CRNFC, there was this added rivalry with the coaches. But here again, with St. Peter's College, which has been a very, very comfortable abode for Sanat Martis, and of course Royal College, where Dushant Leuke is no stranger. He's done everything there at Royal College, Abdullah, and he's held in high regard. He'll want to make sure that he continues the legacy.
Yes, definitely. And both these coaches also probably know each other's modus operandi as well, so that, as you all were just saying, adds a little bit more spice to this contest as well. But I'm sure they'll just keep on evolving, come up with some new tricks and just try to outwit each other. So it'll be interesting from a tactical aspect as well, how this game is going to progress.
Interesting times in the International Rugby Arena as well. Shanaka, you'd be a very, very happy man. I had to answer a call from my brother, who's a massive Crusaders supporter, soon after the semi-final finished yesterday, which wasn't a very nice time for me, being a Blues fan. But today, Chiefs going all the way, so two New Zealand teams in the final. Crusaders were hampered with a lot of injuries coming into the semi-final as well. Chiefs, on the other hand, are really on the up. The final is going to be very interesting.
The final is going to be very interesting, especially because it's going to be in Hamilton, Sudarshana. But I think Razor Robertson is one of those coaches that understands exactly how to win tournaments, and he's not too much interested in winning matches. So he keeps his powder dry, he keeps his best players for the big games, and they know when to turn it on. So he's a long-term coach, and it's going to be interesting. I thought that kick to take the Crusaders from 49 to 52 in the dying minutes of the game was a little cheeky from Richie Moanga, but it was an absolute hammering and a very close call today for the Chiefs as well. Although it was 16 points to 9, I thought the Brumbies did really well to hold on for as long as they did against a very good Chiefs team, and the big men turning up, Damien McKenzie and Brody Retallick as well. Everybody playing for All Black places as well, Abdullah, and that's going to be an interesting dynamic when we come to the finals too.
Absolutely. Razor Robertson just seems to have mastered the art of winning knockout games, isn't it? 7 consecutive championships. That's just an amazing record. Just he's led the team to another final. It will be his final game for the Crusaders before he takes on the All Blacks job. So something definitely look forward next weekend.
Abdullah, you've been in this position before where you've been out for the anthems, you've had your warm-ups, you've got the dignitaries who need to be introduced to the teams. What's going through these players' mind at this point in time?
Well, speaking from personal experience, you just want the game to get started, isn't it? You just don't want to be hanging around too much with the dignitaries. It's a nice experience, a wonderful photo opportunity that you can look back later after you have finished playing. But at that very moment, you just want the game to start immediately. A lot of nerves building up, nervous energy as well. So it's so important to channel those nerves in the correct direction as well.
Referee Ishan Kabekun will be the man in the middle today. He's the one who took charge of that match between the two Saints, Anthony and Joseph, up in Bogambara. And it was really a very close game, and I'm sure he's going to oversee another close one here today. Peterites being introduced by their captain. It's interesting that Jaya Vikrama is in the squad as well, so there's a little bit of leadership there, Sudarshana, for the Peterites as well. So they will have a little bit more experience perhaps than Royal.
I believe the Royalists have experience on their ranks a little more than the Peterites. But like you mentioned, there will be a lot of leadership on camp, because apart from Sandesh Jayavikrama, there are two vice captains in the Peterite outfit as well. Them playing at home, they'll want to prove that last season was just one of those seasons that went astray. This season, they will want to make sure that they are here to try and exploit everybody that comes to Bambalapitiya.
This is going to be interesting talking about leadership, that we're talking about the positional change of the Royal captain, isn't it? Last year, he was the blindside flanker. As we just have a quick look at the match officials, referee, as you said, Ishan Kabekon will be assisted by Ravin Alexander and Sarat Madugala. So this year, he's been moved to the first inside position. So it'll be interesting to see how he adapts. To know whether it's a more tactical or whether it's more of a requirement from a team's perspective. So it'll be interesting to see how he will be used, because he's a big boy. Will he be that busting centre three-quarter who you just expect to get over the gain line, or will he be able to be a bit more of a playmaker? So it'll be interesting to see how Randula will be used as far as Royal is concerned.
Coach Leke is a fan of that, isn't he, Abdullah? He likes to have that big boy carrying it up off the fly half and try to run his patterns off them. So let's see if that's what they go with today. The set pieces are going to be crucial, and that little bit of rain that drizzled across this Bambalapitiya ground may have done just enough, as we see Coach Sanat Martis, his usual self. You'll never know exactly what he's thinking, like Captain Holt from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. As we see Kushan Tarindu putting this ball up in the air, fumble early on from Royal. But they recover and will move to their familiar pod of forward, standing one out. And go back into the pocket. The chase is coming from Royal. Taken well by Kushan Tarindu, who sets it up, stays on his feet just long enough. And St. Peter's on their own side of halfway will look to do something with this ball. And immediately, referee Ishan Kabekun, prompted by the crowd, sees the high tackle. Might have been a little unlucky there. So players seem to duck into it.
So have a look at that replay once again. It's just one of those 50-50 calls, but probably Referee Abekon is trying to lay down the mark that he's going to be very strict when it comes to high tackles. So an opportunity for St. Peter's to launch the first attack. Line out just outside their own 22.
Madugaske, the man who got pummeled there. We have Wishmaker. He will throw the ball into this lineup. Coach Leke, always very switched on. First line out of the game. A crucial moment. to see how the next 70 minutes will pan out. Lots of movement in the Pete Wright line-out. They go to the back. And it's safely won that time by Madigaske again. But Royal's small defense is superb, and you can hear the Royal crowd urging their team on. Beautifully done by Royal in defense, forcing St. Peter's to use it quickly. The chip kick, and equal to the task was Nabil Yahya, who has no trouble marking it and also being very calm under the attention of the Peter Wright chaser.
Yes, well, we're talking about referee making his mark. The Royal Pack definitely sent out a message there, isn't it, Shanaka, from that line-out drive? Just making them rethink their strategy as Yahya misses touch.
Bandara is a man who takes it into contact, and now St. Peter's have an opportunity to counter-attack. Royal would have been expecting a comfortable line-out, but now they're suddenly on their defense one more time. Flying up in the line, and here's some men over for St. Peter's. Keeping it in his hand was Dulaj Navodya, taking it into the 22. Now here's some quick ball for St. Peter's, but Royal's defense flies up. Great line speed by Royal. Slow ball for the Pete Wrights. Going in after it is Pawan. And it's untidy, but managing to hold on to it is Yumet Chihara. Quick ball again for St. Peter's. Another man on the outside. Here's Bandara, who started it all, running into his opposite numbers, Savindu Patirana. Standing and passing St. Peter's. Need not to isolate themselves, but they've protected the ball well. And unfortunately for the Pete Wrights, the passing is inaccurate.
Yes, but it also could be, what led to it probably was that rush defense by Royal, isn't it? They constantly hit St. Peter's behind the gain line on every single occasion. So far Royal seems to be winning that collision battle, and sending a very clear message out to the Peter Wrights that they'll need to probably try and stay away from contact as much as possible.
Something I think the Pete Wrights will have to be mindful of is they've dominated position in these early exchanges of this game. What they need to do is they need to try and score some points, having camped up in the opposition half, or else when Royal goes, that will really break their spirit.
Well, St. Peter's completely destroying the Royal scrum on that occasion. Lucky not to concede a penalty, the Royal Pack. So you can see that big number one for St. Peter's, Pranitha Ridmal, on the tight head side, really causing problems for his opposite number, Gamage. And that'll give them a lot of confidence again. So just like Royal sent a message with that maul defense, St. Peter's have won a little bit of a moral victory there. Royal will be apprehensive in this scrum. They take it out quickly off channel 1 ball. It's a bounced ball to the Royal fly half. Royal coming it up strongly. It's a nice run by Kavinash. And right into the pocket for Thivain. Dumps it over the 50-meter line. And here's another counter-attacking opportunity for St. Peter's again. Just can't hold on to the ball. The passing for St. Peter's will leave Coach Marty staring his hair out.
Yes, I'm not sure whether there was a need to actually send that skip pass, isn't it? They could have gone through the hands. Peter Wright seemed to have the advantage of a 3-on-2 situation. As we have a look at that once again, just needed to go through the hands. There was no requirement for that long pass. The ball is probably wet as well. So not the best decision making by the Peter Wright back three.
Just a kind of drizzle that creates that grease, not enough water to really be a problem, but this is the kind of stuff that happens, especially early on in the game until the players get used to it. Here's Royal taking it with their big man Randula at first receiver, coming back infield to Gamage. And from the base is Shafiq putting up a box kick. Nicely taken by Royal, a good chase and a good collection as well. The 50-50 ball, and it came back on the Royal side. That's exactly what those box kicks are meant to do. Kavinash carrying into contact, and here's Royal with a little bit of space now to spread the ball wide. Yahya in the line. Up quickly was Bandara for the spot tackle. You can see the line speed of St. Peter's not nearly as quick as Royals was. Shafiq looks back to the pocket again for Tiven. It's another kick, but straight into the hands of Kushan Tarindu, who is tackled. But the referee will have a word with his assistant and says no, there's nothing wrong with that, and will go to the line out, which will be where he kicked the ball from.
So far we've seen Tiven Pereira taking a couple of kicks whenever in possession. It just hasn't been as accurate as it should be. It's just gone right down the throat of the fullback. Royal need to be a bit careful because we know the counter-attacking threats this Peterite back three can pose. So they'll need to find a lot of space at the back when they're kicking rather than just kicking it straight down the back three's throats.
Short line out, 4 men for Royal. And that's untidy off the top, but doesn't matter because they have some nice quick ball. Again, a juggle. You can see that this slippery ball is causing problems, and St. Peter's come away with the penalty for holding on. And St. Peter's will calm things down. And Dimel. Here's a pass. It was a nice flat ball, but just too much on it. Especially as we keep talking about it, the ball is like a bit of a bar of soap at the moment.
Yes, I think the players need to adjust, isn't it, Shanika? So far, I'm sure throughout the week they've been practicing in pretty hot, dry, humid conditions. But today, just that slight drizzle is causing a little bit of underneath the wetness. So they just need to keep that in mind.
It'll be interesting to see how the coaches try and tweak their plans now, Shanika, especially given that the underfoot conditions are slightly slippery and the ball is slippery. How do you switch on to your territorial game aspect? We saw that happening, but like we spoke earlier before the game started, we don't see committed chasing on those territorial kicks. How can they get that message across to their back three and also the flankers and the third rowers coming in?
Shihara with a big kick, has plenty on it, but just wide of the right hand upright. So that will play on the minds of the Royalists as well, showing that they have the range to kick from 50 meters. But from a technical point of view, Abdullah, you've got to expect teams at this level, at first 15 level, to know that the ball is slippery and not to use those spiral passes, just to maybe flick pass and pop it in front a little bit softer with the hands. That's something that you would expect these boys to be able to do with their experience.
Exactly, and also it's also the formation as well, isn't it, Shanik? You've got to get a bit closer to the person who's carrying the ball. So just those kind of adjustments. Players, most of them have come through the junior ranks, so they should be able to make that adjustment accordingly.
It's not sure what the hold-up is, but they're waiting for the dropout to be taken. Conditioning will play a big part in this game for sure, because there's going to be a lot of collisions. Tiven Pereira, the fly half.
I believe the hold-up, Shanika, is because just behind, onto the right of your screens there, the Royal crowd had come onto the playing field and not in front of the sponsor, rather than being at the back of the sponsor booth. They've come in front of the sponsor booth. I believe that's the Prefects Guild of Royal College, who want to be as close as they possibly can to the action. Any closer, you'll have to wear a jersey.
So that kick completely scuffed that time by Papare. You can see how slippery this ground has gotten, so it's ended up being a bit of a grubber. And here's the ball bouncing away, and it might bounce into touch. Yes, it does. And it went off the hand of the Royal player as well, which means that St. Peter's will get an attacking line out. So that stoppage in play just taking off the concentration of the players who had a nice intense period in the game.
Not ideal for Royal College because Nabil Yahya looked awkward when he fell there. It's a heavily strapped left knee. The Royalists will be hoping that he's all right and not rattled, being the last line of defense. Peterites, on the other hand, will need to go back with points from here on. They've come to the red zone. It'll be important that they get points.
Another four-man line out, so shortened for both teams. Tapped back, it's untidy ball as the Peterite scrum half Gallagher goes back. That's a nice ball. Good offload again for Bandar. He's got some space on the outside. Just can't get round his man. This is better from St. Peter's as Royal going over the ball. And again, the unforced error from St. Peter's, and Royal living dangerously, but St. Peter's are just giving this to them on the platter, not converting any possession.
Quite unfortunate that time because the Peterites, just before the breakdown there, Shanika, they had made that adjustment of trying to bunch in and making the passes short, but then yet again trying to be a little too ambitious. That pass wasn't necessary. Could have just taken into contact and then build on the faces.
So it will be a Royal feed in from that scrum. Again, good pressure applied at scrum time by the Peterites. Royal managing to retain possession. Tivain getting the ball out to Nabil, who slices that kick. It's an area of the game that Royal have definitely struggled so far, the kicking game. Tivain, and on this occasion, Nabil Yahya, the guilty party. On the other hand, the Peterites have been relatively accurate with regard to their kicks, so it's an area of the game Royal will need to brush up.
Yeah, about that passing, we're talking about the spiral pass, Abdullah, and that pass was just too hard to the man. Yeah, you can see his standing foot almost slipped from under him. So again, the ground conditions really being the printer's devil here. This is a fuller line-out. This time we've got 5 men. Again, a lot of movement from St. Peter's. And up will go their main man, but that's good defensive work in the line-out from the Royalists. Knew exactly who it was going to. It was going to Madhugaske. But they pinched the ball from out of his hands, and good defensive work. It was charged down, but just too much on the ball. As Steven Pereira is struggling to find his timing here.
Not ideal for Royal College, isn't it? There are 2 kickers, both of them struggling for that timing, struggling for that fluency you expect from the kickers. Dulaj Navodya, absolutely terrific work. He's put the fear of a chaser onto the kicker. That's going to reap very rich dividends for St. Peter's College.
It's just looking at Tivain's kicking side. He doesn't seem a natural kicker, isn't it? It's very mechanical the way he goes about it. A good chase by Royal, putting good pressure. There's a knock on. Slow ball, but Royal retain position. Take it up, get over the gain line, which they have been doing consistently well. Now they get the ball out. Another misdirected kick, but this time it'll find a bit of grass. Fortunately, I don't think it was designed as such. And it's an error by the Peterites, so a bit fortunate for Royal on that occasion. Don't think that was planned. It just sliced off the side of the boot. But a good attacking opportunity for Royal. Also, just coming back to the kicking game, I'd like to see Royal scrum half Shafiq taking a bit more ownership with regard to the kicks, isn't it? Trying to use the kick from the base a bit more often. Maybe that could kind of relieve the pressure on his other kickers, as again, just that awkward bounce. Shape of the rugby ball tends to deceive fullbacks more often than not.
But with that, Royal comes into the red zone for the first time in this game.
Number 8 break on the blind side, and now coming back to the big truck runners for Royal into the 22. And St. Peter's, after spending 15 minutes camped in the Royal half, have nothing to show for it. And Royal looking much more dangerous with the ball in their hands. The pick and go, which has been a trademark of these Royal teams under Dushant Leuke. Very technically sound, know how to get the ball back. So we have Tanvir Hassan calling for it, but they opt to go from the base. Here's the big man Hassan taking Gamage with him. It's quick ball for Shafiq, but it's not a well-directed ball. Tiven gives it off to his centre, who is isolated. Again, looking to just change the tempo when they had such good go forward.
It's just that half-back link between Tiven Papare and Shafiq just doesn't seem to be clicking thus far, isn't it? Probably new combination, yet trying to find their feet. Royal had a wonderful attacking opportunity, but that pass just did not find its mark. And Kalyaratna breaking that half break, but again, as you can very clearly see, the Royal forwards not maintaining their body weight, going to the ground and very correctly penalized by referee Abeko.
So good defense on the opposite side of the field, taking Royal into the St. Peter's 22, but both teams have struggled to find points. A little bit simpler in the line-out this time as Madhugaske goes up. There's no contest there, which is why referee Abekun allows that play to go on as Yahya plays a little bit of football to stop the ball. Again, a really hard pass.
No, it's okay. Go.
Royal chase as usual up to the mark, putting pressure on the receivers. Standing and passing from St. Peter's, and look for the little grubber kick through this time. Bandara has to go back, and that was good work from Samindu Pathirana to grab the ball on the bounce, drag to the ground, and Royal have the ball just inside their own half. Here's the big man Gamage, the tight head prop, the ball ripped away from him by Dulaj Navodya. Nice hands from the big prop forward, and now a little bit of space opening up for St. Peter's. Here's Jai Vikrama into the 22. Shafiq quickly taken. This time has Royal gone 10 meters, but the referee calls him back because he was taken from the wrong mark by Fernando. St. Peter's tapping and going, opting not to go for the line out this time. And another mistake. Obstruction is the call, or accidental offside.
Oh well, everything happening here at Bambalapitiya, but not fluency though. Fluency is what's missing from both the teams. As Helter-Skelter rugby has been played, 18.27 minutes on the clock. No score from both the teams, and however, the spectators who have come here. Update from the two games that are up in Mount Lavinia, 11 points to nil. St. Thomas is taking the lead, and in Bogambur, 7 points to nil. Dharmaraj in the lead. So Wesley and Trinity yet to score, just like St. Peter's and Royal College here at Bambalapitiya. All three games coming to you live on Sri Lanka's #1 sports hub, www.thepapare.com.
So Royal looking to clear their lines. And that's much better by a much better option taken by Royal. We're talking earlier about Shafiq taking a bit more responsibility from the base. Does very well to get the Royal out of the 22. So far, you just sense that Royal's kicking game has let them down, Shanaka. So far, they've just put themselves under a bit of pressure. They've been a bit fortunate on a couple of occasions where the bounce has gone their way, but it was not through design.
I think we need to be a little bit more charitable as well, Abdullah, in the commentary box here, because this is the first game for these boys. They haven't played rugby in a long time, at 15-a-side rugby at least. And the ground conditions don't help either, so these things will settle as the game goes on, I hope. But yes, you're right, Royal have put themselves under a lot of pressure. But St. Peter's will be wondering why they haven't been able to exploit that pressure and at least get a few points on the board.
Another area that has kept Peters in the game thus far is they have managed to dominate territory, isn't it, Chanaka? Position has probably been shared, but the Peterites have camped in the Royals' half most of this game. I think Royal probably went into the opponent's half just the once. So that's just helped St. Peter's cause as well.
Full line out this time for the Peterites. Madhukaske goes up, but it's overthrown deliberately. Navodaya again. The hands letting them down. That was the Peterite winger. Riaz coming in off his wing. Here's a nice switch in for Tarindu. Not sure it was the right decision because space seemed to be opening up on the outside. Here's some long passing again. This ball eventually finds the hands, but Royal's drift defense is good. Quick feet from the Peterite defender. Release him, says the referee. It's what they do eventually. And here's the big prop, Ridmal. Not rolling away is the call. So the speed of the attack from Ridmal there, catching Royal's defense snapping. And very quickly and very wisely, I would think, St. Peter's calling for the kicking tee for number 13. That's Yumet Chihara, to try and knock over the first points of the season for the Peterites.
This is the territorial dominance by Peters. Nothing to show it thus far, but opportunity for them to get some points on the board. It's 20 minutes into the game. There hadn't been any scores thus far. Shihara missed that first penalty, though struck it extremely well from the halfway mark. This is a relatively easier kick.
Yeah, right underneath the sport. The Patriots will want to make sure that they get points, and Shara's connection is good, so the Bomber Brigade open their scoring for the 2023 season off a penalty. I think that would give them a lot of confidence, Chanaka.
Yes, absolutely. Getting points on the board is just such a source of reassurance, even if it is 3 points, just to know that you have something on the scoreboard. And the lack of response from the Royal crowd behind the goalpost told you immediately as it was struck that he was going over. But this might coincidentally ease the nerves of Royal as well. They know they now have to chase the game. They don't have to score first. Here's Hassan to Yahya. Caught in possession. Hassan does well to get back and give support to his fullback. Good number 8 play from Hassan there, and the knock forward. So again, Royal putting themselves under pressure. Abdullah, it hasn't been so much St. Peter's that have been the undoing, but Royal themselves.
That's right, another unforced error. Bit lack of communication between the forwards, really. Just the kind of position the Peterites would want to be, isn't it, after they've got those 3 points right back in Royal's half. Great attacking position as well. Good short side to work with.
Dulaj Navodaya gives the ball to his scrum half this time. Again, the passing is very inaccurate as Tarindu tries to step his way out of trouble, manages to set the ball up for another phase. Here's St. Peter's. Not a lot of creativity in how they're going about things at the moment, just one-out runners. And here's Ridmal. He's getting over the gain line, slowly though. Again, some standing and passing by the St. Peter's three-quarters. That's a decent enough kick, but Yahya has more than enough time to thump this one down the field, but finds the hands once again of the Peterite 10, Dimel. Here's Tarindu. Once again brought down just short of the 40-meter mark, and Royal will pounce as they do so well on that available ball at the breakdown. Here's Randula using that big fend. Ball squirting about all over the place. Shafiq now goes all the way back to Yahya. That's a better directed kick. But still, St. Peter's Tarindu has enough time to make sure he finds touch. So you can see that Royal are not planning to run this one too much. At least for the first half, they're hoping to pin St. Peter's back in their own half and maybe attack that line-out ball, but it hasn't really gone according to plan so far.
That's right. The execution, Shanaka, has probably let Royal down, but as you very correctly said, it's the first game of the season, so to be a bit more patient. But in that context, I think Royal need to play the percentages also a bit more, isn't it? Not take too many risks. Play it a bit tight. That's where they're comfortable in. Now it's a line out. It's a shortened line out, so interesting call.
Shafiq with a nice pass out to Tiven, who sends a flat pass out to his pod of forwards in the center of the field. Shafiq again for the second phase as Buaneka takes it forward. Buaneka Senanayaka, his first touch of the ball. Tiven. And here is a little bit of space now opening up for Kalyanaratne, one of the most dangerous runners in this Royal line. But unfortunately for the Royalist fans behind the goalpost, his foot just slips into touch. But just for the first time, Royal looking a little dangerous.
Yes, promising run by Kalyanaratne. And this is what the Royal backline can do if they can get the fluency right. Kalyanaratne can spot space. Filio Kalyanaratne had a massive complaint when I met him last, because I tend to call him Lennox, his older brother's name. Kalyanaratne making a move for Royal College, that's going to be very interesting, because Royal traditionally are known to play in close quarters, but they have some experience in the back line.
Filio Kalyanaratne is outstanding in the Sevens tournament, so one-on-one he will be a difficult man to stop. As St. Peter's have a defensive line out this time, they go to their front pod again to Madhugaske, who seems to be their only real option in the line out. Royal again with that maul defense, which has been so good for them. But St. Peter's managing to retain the ball, and thumping it up the field was Gallage. That time, Sanvidu Patirana. This is Yahya.
Release!
Making the ball available. No clear release, says referee Abe Kun, as they play an advantage. Royal will have a crack at this. They know the advantage is coming. So let's see what Tiven does with this ball. If he does get it, the inside ball is telegraphed. So the referee will give Royal their first opportunity to try and knock this one over and come back to even Stevens on the scoreboard.
It's interesting to see the call they will make, isn't it? Will they go for the post? So will they go to touch and use that famed line-out drive? But looks like they will be going to touch. Points on the board is given priority. So Nabilia here had a relatively good season last year from the kicking tee. As we have a look at the replay once again, not releasing the tackle on that occasion was Dulaj Navodya, the guilty man. Needs to be a clear release once the tackle is made. So an opportunity for Yahya to draw first blood for Royal.
It's a heavily strapped standing leg. But again, the unfamiliar wind conditions means that Yahya has missed a fairly straightforward kick. They look easy on your TV screens, but they never really are. As Randula marches into the Peterite melee, tries to assert some dominance, and that's what Royal have to do. They haven't really asserted their dominance except at the breakdown maybe. they haven't physically imposed themselves on this game so far. Perhaps something like that, a Dane Cole's kind of misdemeanor there, would really spark this Royal side.
Number 13.
Interesting because both the teams would revel in an opportunity like that. Even the beach right, I think we work well. Oh, that's nice to see. The two number 7s agreeing that need to see past it. Randall has been largely absent from most of the proceedings so far. The skipper from Royal College, he's a good ball carrier. Despite being a third rower last season, he carried a lot of balls for Royal College. We haven't seen him in action so far, so his shift to centre hasn't paid a lot of dividends for Royal, because that's something that they like to do, keep it close to each other and play with a heavy ball carrying number 12 in their hands.
Well, that's an interesting kick from Yahya. Goes right across diagonally. Kind of a football World Cup raking kick that was. Could have been a little dangerous, although St. Peter's reply with the same kind of kick, and here's a little bit of space opening up for the big number 8 Hassan. It's been full of running so far. Here's Royal getting up ahead of steam, but they lose the ball on the floor. And again, that was Akram Farooq who lost it in contact, so still the unforced errors piling on for both teams. Half an hour gone, 3 points to nil. Promised to be a blockbuster, but hasn't really lived up to its hype so far, Abdullah.
Yes, you can see the unforced errors just creeping into the game. I think the underground conditions hasn't quite helped in that way as well. So another attacking opportunity for the Peterites.
Have to say the Peter scrum has looked really solid so far, giving plenty of time for Dimel to thump this one down into the 22 and force Yahya to kick this one out from under his own goal post, and that's an interesting decision. This could be really dangerous, and none of the Peterite players seem to want to have anything to do with that ball. Shafiq puts it high up in the air, but the referee will come back for the knock-on because there's nothing happening there. But that diagonal kick was super dangerous, Abdullah.
Again, Royal luck of the bounce, I guess, going their way, not for the first time. Yahya just not quite sure what he was thinking, because there were no chasers there as well. Fortunately for him, there were no Peterites covering that left flank effectively as well. So another opportunity for Royal just on the halfway mark.
Good time for St. Peter's to pick up a big scrum, which is exactly what they do, but Royal managed to get this one out at the back. They've been pretty good under pressure, and Kalyana Ratna that time unfortunately knocking that ball on. Sorry, that was Yahya coming in from fullback who knocked the ball on.
Has been a real buzzkill, isn't it? This game promised to be so much more, but so far it's been stop-start affair from both the teams. Conditions not helping as well, but now they need to get that fluency in. They need to make sure that they try and capitalize on the opportunities that they're getting.
Yahya's knee just seemed to lock up a little bit there as he took the ball. Good body position here from Gamage. Ridmal, in fact, on the closer side. Here's a little bit of space now opening up for Tarindu coming back on the inside. Here's some quick ball finally for St. Peter's. Flying up in defense was Royals number 6, Buoneka Senanayaka. Really important tackle that he made there, and that time it's Jahan Veerabangsa who leaves it behind. And another unforced error adding up to the total.
Well, one thing that's kept Royal in this game thus far is their rush defense, isn't it? They've constantly been able to knock the Peterites behind the gain line. And that's just not allowed the Peterites to launch successful attacks. It's purely their defensive effort that's kept them in the game this far, because the Peterites have had a lot of opportunities. As we have a look at that once again, probably an eye off the ball as well, worried about the rush defense.
Set. Steady.
It's nothing more irritating than seeing a defender out of the corner of your eye as Shafiq uses a little grubber through, and Randula is brought down inside the 22 by the little scrum half Galage.
Okay, good.
That was interesting work at the back from Shafiq. Very cheeky, but not sure it was the position where he should do that. Ball came out of the scrum out of channel 1 much quicker than anticipated from Royal that time, and they still rumble it forward well inside their own half, trying to get away. And Tiven now will opt to run it. Saw a little bit of space for Kalyana Ratna, and now Bandara has come up and made the tackle on Kalyana Ratna that time. Royal just trundling it up. Not a really big plan, as there's a penalty coming through as they're going straight at the side. Little bit of over-enthusiasm from the Peterite defender there.
Yes, again, Royal just not managing to gain much headway. They're trading the ball, trying their luck out wide. But Royal have the ability to break one-on-one tackles, isn't it? It's just that they've got to just develop a few phases and create those one-on-one situations which enables them to do that.
For some funny reason, especially Royal, when they have ball in hand, look like they are moving in slow motion, Abdullah. There is no urgency that we'd like to see. Or if they are opting to go slow motion, they need to try and keep it a little closer. They're trying to spread it out wide, but not having that fluency and the ball handling that they would like.
Yes, well, enough of all this. I think Royal just need to get this line out and just drive it right down the park. Just haven't had an opportunity so far. Let's hope that that's the call they make.
Coming back to a tactic that works. It's a 4-man line-out, so we're not going to see an 8-man drive, Abdullah, that's for sure. Taken at the front by Bhuvanika Senanayaka. So lucky to get away with that one. It looked like Veerasurya did detach a little, and now the ball has gone back. So Abdullah, you called it, as the other 4 forwards join. They've gone all the way from halfway to the 22, and here's Hassan twisting and turning his way. And now the ball comes for Royal. Ooh, I thought that was quite a 50-50 decision, because Peterite Jackalers seemed like they were not supporting their body weight as they went over there. But the referee was on the spot.
Well, they decided that it's time to go for lemons, the Peters. Interesting call, isn't it? They've had enough. They've had absolutely enough. I think they are more keen to get a real hearing from their coach. Both the coaches will want to make sure that their message is heard loud and clear.
Well, I'll tell you what, Sudarshan, I don't want to be either of these two teams in the dressing room at half-time, that's for sure. But St. Peter's under pressure. They did the sensible thing in knocking that one into touch and going back into the huts, because if this game stays the way it does, St. Peter's won't care if they win it 3-0 or 30-0. They'll be quite happy to take the W. So it's 3 points to 0 here at half-time at Bambalapitiya. We'll be back with the highlights.
Yes, before we go on to the highlights, Keel's Crest Naimeri sausage, the bite that bite back. In the mood for a bite to spice up your hangout or party, Keel's Crest Naimeri sausages is the ideal pairing to spice up your parties, hangouts, gatherings with a unique and all-new flavor that will sting your taste buds with a hint of spicy Naimeris. You got to try this new sensation. At cricket, we were lucky enough to have some at the com box. I think we need to try and push for them to be available in the rugby com boxes as well, as we will try and take a look at the highlights. And not much to speak of or try and show you because the score lines remained at 3 8-0. Most of the highlight reel will be like that. Unforced errors coming in.
Yes, unforced errors and some really big tackles being made. So this was the first scoring opportunity for the Peterites. It was well struck, but the direction was not quite there. And then Royal just trying to play a bit too much rugby in their own half, putting themselves under a bit of pressure. This kick being charged down. Fortunately, the ball going over the dead ball line from the block. And then Royal had a couple of opportunities, but again, just that 9-10 combination, not finding its feet. I have to say, Kalyaratne has had a really good game in this first half. Probably the only three-quarter, dare I say, from both teams who have managed to break a few one-on-one tackles. And this was the lone scoring opportunity for the Peterites. 35 meters out under the post, and no mistake by Shihara. Then Kalyaratne, probably the best player of Royal in that first half, breaking a couple of tackles, unfortunately not being able to stay in play. And then Royal had an opportunity for not from a penalty, but Yahya just not finding his mark. Ball going across the right upright. Then Royal, they did try to spread the ball out wide. Fortunately, not as successful as they would like, but there was definitely endeavor. So that's the highlights of this first half. St. Peter's leading 3-0. We'll catch you on the other side.
ඕනම දෙයක් කරන්න විදියක් තියෙනවා. ඒ තමයි තමන්ගේ විදිය. ජීවිතය අත්විඳින්න. ආත්ම විශ්වාසයෙන් නැගී සිටින්න. Bold ඔබම වෙන්න.
Bambalapitiya cheese රසට යාළුවෝ සෙට් එක ස්මයිලි බෙදනවා ඕන වෙලාවක ස්නැක් එක දැක්කම හිත ෆික්ස් වෙනවා සරට කැමති අය දවස පුරාවට සැරයිල්ලනවා කැලිප්සෝ මික්ස් එක ඕන වෙලාවක නැගලම යනවා බෝරින් ලයිෆ් එක බ්‍රේක් අප් කරගෙන සල්සා නටනවා ලුණු රටාවට අනියන් කික් එක ෆුල් හැපනින් වෙනවා අචි රටටම රස බෙදෙන මංජි රස බලකාය දැන් අලුත් වෙලා
නව වැඩි දියුණු කළ Dandex Active Climbasol පළමු සේදීමෙන්ම ඉස්සොරි ඉවත් කරයි. හැමදාම Dandex නම්
හැමදාම no problem.
Dandex හිස නිදහසේ ඉදිරියට.
Coloma, beautiful outside and inside.
cheese රසට යාළුවෝ සෙට් එක ස්මයිලි බෙදනවා ඕන වෙලාවක ස්නැක් එක දැක්කම හිත ෆික්ස් වෙනවා සරට කැමති අය දවස පුරාවට සැරයිල්ලනවා කැලිප්සෝ මික්ස් එක ඕන වෙලාවක නැගලම යනවා බෝරින් ලයිෆ් එක බ්‍රේක් අප් කරගෙන සල්සා නටනවා ලුණු රටාවට අනියන් කික් එක ෆුල් හැපනින් වෙනවා අචි රටටම රස බෙදෙන මංජි රස බලකාය දැන් අලුත් වෙලා
හැමදාම Dandex නම්
හැමදාම no problem.
Dandex හිස නිදහසේ ඉදිරියට.
Coloma, beautiful outside and inside.
Rebel for love. Hey, have you heard about Z?
ZZ. KYC.
Easy.
Mobile banking. Crazy.
Education loans and salary advances.
Amazing. Introducing the Digital Youth Account. NDBZ. NDBZ from NDB Bank. The future is banking on us.
Enjoy the infinite possibilities of the freedom of space, inspired by the beauty of our land. Sri Lanka's finest finished, largest sized porcelain tile collection. Majestica. Lanka Tiles. Fine living redefined.
නව වැඩි දියුණු කළ Dandex Active Climbasol පළමු සේදීමෙන්ම ඉස්සොරි ඉවත් කරයි. හැමදාම Dandex නම්
හැමදාම no problem.
Dandex හිස නිදහසේ ඉදිරියට.
ඕනම දෙයක් කරන්න විදියක් තියෙනවා. ජීවිතය අත්විඳින්න ආත්ම විශ්වාසයෙන් නැගී සිටින්න ගෝල්ඩ් ඔපම වෙන්න
Introducing NeosPay, a fun way to make payments from your Neos app. For the fun of paying, hashtag NeosPay.
Fun tamai.
ඕනම දෙයක් කරන්න විදියක් තියෙනවා ඒ තමයි තමන්ගේ විදිය ජීවිතය අත්විඳින්න ආත්ම විශ්වාසයෙන් නැගී සිටින්න ගෝල්ඩ් ඔපම වෙන්න
Trending fashion ara navy rasa baby Papare beat ke sare dekho tumhe panjabi nata baby sare dekho puna rasa diva pairuna sare davi adanari ko tumi pantama fun update bena hot cup pe kakmana sare davi adanari ko tumi pantama prima ko tumi pantamai
Coloma, beautiful outside and inside.
Love never felt this good until right now with you. With one more bite of Revlon for love.
හැමදාම ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් නම්
හැමදාම no problem
ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් හිස නිදහසේ ඉදිරියට
ඕනම දෙයක් කරන්න විදියක් තියෙනවා ඒ තමයි තමන්ගේ විදිය ජීවිතය අත්විඳින්න ආත්ම විශ්වාසයෙන් නැගී සිටින්න ගෝල්ඩ් ඔපම
The time has come, once again, for the Warriors to battle in pursuit of supremacy. Dialog Schools Rugby League. The battle for supremacy starts in June.
A very good afternoon and welcome back to live coverage of this clash between St. Peter's and Royal, a clash that was billed to be maybe even a league decider potentially. Of course, now with St. Joseph's, one of the pre-season favourites, going down to St. Anthony's, that has been blown wide open and we don't know who the favourites are anymore. But you'll be given all the action on the Papare.com all the way through this 2023 season. Steven Pereira, who had, and his team, who have had perhaps a forgettable first 35 minutes, have come back, and let's see what Sanat Matish and Dushant Leuke have told their boys in that halftime huddle. I'm sure no words were minced in either of those dressing rooms, as the 3-0 slender lead that St. Peter's had at halftime will be under pressure as Royal attempt to maybe use the wind that is coming from the seaside here at Bambalapitiya to their advantage, as Yahya thumps this one down. And Tarindu Opts to use one of his runners. That time it looked like it was Riaz who looped around. St. Peter's trying to play a little bit of rugby in their own half this time.
Outside.
Do well to get out of this zone as the ball is charged down. Well, it wasn't charged down, it was kicked straight into the back of the Royal defender who was guarding the side of the ruck. And this time Dimel will manage to get the ball away. Straight down the throat of Yahya though, who will look to counter-attack. Here's Sangvidu Patirana, who has been one of the better players for Royal on this left wing. Setting up another phase. Peterite defense opts to allow Ridmal to run straight into him, or Kavinash to run straight into him, I should say. Big tackle on Malalagama by his opposite number, and here's the ball available now for Royal off the third phase. Nice ball, but again Bhuvaneka Senanayaka leaves it behind. It was a good pass. Good quick hands from Royal, but just not finding the mark.
Yes, but Royal, when they do spread the ball out wide, they just don't look convincing, isn't it, Shanaga? It's very laboured in the way they're going about it. Just like to see them keeping it tight a bit more before they decide to go out wide. Just try and, they seem to be getting over the gain line much more comfortably than the Peterites are doing. So probably create another couple of phases before they do decide to go out wide. Probably hold them in good stead.
Yes, a short passing really is something that they should be looking to. Unfortunately, not a lot of that is happening. And we can put it down to the fact that it's first game nerves, but also the fact that the weather changed drastically from the warm-ups to kick-off, which means that now the players have to just adjust themselves a little bit. Riaz dragged down. A good cover defensive tackle. But the ball is now available. Lovely long pass from the Peterite stand-in halfback there. Gallagher now resumes his original position as Dimel is forced to kick this one straight into the hands of Gamanayaka. And Yahya looks to bounce this one out, but it will be a good 50-22. Yahya did kick it from inside his own half, so it is a 50-22. Outstanding work there from the Royal fullback, I should say. St. Peter's tried to keep it in, but just couldn't.
Yes, Royal should just worry about route one now. There's no other options necessary. This time they've got all 8, or rather all 7 into the line out. So just need to get a good clean line out ball first up.
Yeah, just go for the tried and tested method where you know you will be able to try and dominate. But the Peterites were equal to the task. A good sack as soon as the ball came down, and they've managed to come away with it.
Abdullah shaking his head like all good fullbacks would, but as forward Sudarshan Rana appreciate a good sack. That was really well done by St. Peter's. Immediately as the ball carrier came to ground, here's Tanidu trying to put on some Vaisala Serevi type footwork inside his own 22. Not sure that's exactly what his coach would have ordered him to do, but he did get his knee to the ground and the Royal defender didn't release.
So I think fullback called the mark, but the referee decided otherwise. So Royal have had a couple of opportunities from the driving maul, but the Peterites have managed to withstand that pressure. There was a partial release, I would probably say, but referee adjudicating that there was no clear release.
Another full line out opted for. It's like they've dispensed with the shorter line outs at half time. Dulaj Navodya at the back of the line out for St. Peter's, and he's the one that receives the ball. Not sure if that was deliberate. Holding on is the call, and Navodaya was isolated there, so had no options.
Very well marked that time. Royal ready to lie the back of the hand. Kalanaratna now been given the duties of going to touch, so Royal have changing of options and looking for that distance territorial advantage. They've gone with Tiven, they've gone with Yaya, now it's Filio, but that was Tiven there was the first arriving player, had all the right to the ball.
That aspect of Royals rugby, I think in the recent part has been second to none. Have been so good over the breakdown ball. Lots of strength, good technique as well. At the back is Veerasurya. Again, that time sacked, and the referee responding not the same way he did a few minutes ago. That time Peters didn't get it absolutely right. Gamage takes it up on the 40-meter line. Still a long way to go to the try line. Penalty advantage still with Royal. Here's the hooker Akram Farooq. Big hit by Ridmal, driving his opposing front rower back, but the referee will come back as no advantage was forthcoming.
So this time the sack is deemed to have been illegal. So opportunity for Royal to get into the 22 and launch another attack.
Such a fine line, isn't it, Sudarshana? As Royal don't find touch that time, but the chase is good.
He has his flag up though, the linesman.
Something did spark there again.
Couple of handbags, no harm done. Got to be surprised if something of this nature wasn't to spark in an opening game, in a game like this where you got to win dirty. You got to make sure that you try and do everything you possibly can to try and win.
Well, I don't think people will disagree too much if I say that was probably the most entertaining bit of the match so far.
Number 6.
Well, we are sure. Surely both of us agree here, me and Abdullah. Absolutely no doubt about that.
Yes, it got a very docile crowd really going. And you can just hear the Royal spectators have got a new lease of life, as it were, because Peter Wright blindside flanker Fernando will spend the next 10 minutes in the sin bin. So great attacking opportunity for Royal.
Aiden Fernando looked like he might have played a little bit of football, but not with the ball. Might be one of the Royal players, which is why the crowd responded so emphatically on that side, and the players also sparked to life. So perhaps that's the catalyst that Royal needed, and this is much closer to march over the line, Abdullah.
Oh, absolutely. I think this one is going to be a no-brainer for Royal College. They will want to make sure that they set this up, get the motions right, set this up, and that will deal a massive blow to the confidence of the Pete Wrights. They've lost a player, and if the Royalists can get that one, that's going to be advantage Royal any day of the week. That boy there who's trying to sack is obstructing the ball, as Royal, the ever so promising Royal ball, goes across the line, and just like that, Royal College get their opening try, and this will do a world of good to the forwards and Royal College confidence.
Akram Farooq scoring the first try of the season for Royal from that tried and tested driving maul. 5 meters out, Royal are pretty much unstoppable. They've been trying to run the ball most of this first 40 minutes or so, and this time they went to what works, and Abdullah's been calling for it since kickoff, and finally it has come.
Yes, so Royal will definitely feel very happy with the outcome. Not only have they gone into the lead, but for the next 8 minutes or so, the Peterites will be down to 14 players. So it's an opportunity for Royal to really stamp their authority on this game.
Important conversion coming through for Royal College. They'll want to make sure that they hit the mark. Conversion not successful.
Time off. Royal captain. Royal captain. Royal captain.
So Royal,
Captain.
5 points to 3. About 10 minutes into the second half.
ස්කම් එකේ මෝල් එකේ හපනවා කියනවා. මට ඒක පේන්නේ නැහැ. නමුත් ඒ දේ කරන්න එපා කියලා මැසේජ් එක දෙන්න. ජෙනරලි බලන්න. ජෙනරලි බලන්න. මැසේජ් එක දෙන්න. ගහ ගන්න යන්න එපා. කිව්වා මම මැසේජ් එක දෙන්න.
Referee being very, very clear with the skipper. Both the skippers.
කෑ ගන්න එපා මම චෙක් කරනවා. Time on.
Here's St. Peters restarting. Just 15 minutes to go in this second half. Royal in front. 5 points to 3. Game in the balance. Boys from the Reed Avenue have the numerical advantage. Senanaika has been largely silent, now wrecking his way through, gaining meters for Royal College. Here's a long cutout pass, putting ball to boot. Kushan Tarindu replies in kind. Yeah, underneath it to Kalyana Ratna. Finds Hassan. Royal playing with a lot more confidence with ball in hand now. Srikanth. Good defensive work coming in from the Peterites, wanting to put pressure. Again the big prop forward carrying the ball. Good stop tackle on him. Peterites happy to let the ball bounce. Not a very safe option because the bounce of the rugby ball is not always judgeable. Sandesh Jayavikrama kicks the ball out in full. So that will be advantage Royal. And they will receive a line out inside the 22 meters. So attacking line out. Sandesh Jayavikrama had to face a tackle slightly after he kicked and I thought that it wasn't late at all.
One thing that I find really surprising, Sudarshan, is the amount of players who have their knees strapped in this game. Is it from both sides? It's the first game of the season. You find a lot of players in this side who have their knees strapped, and it's something which is a bit surprising.
Gold hair and body wash shaker.
The Gold Men's hair and body wash for a quick shower. And I think most of these boys will need it after these muddy conditions. Cleanses and cools your skin. Available at all leading supermarkets. 3-in-1 always works. Easy to carry in your bag as well. Being sportsman. As Royal College now look to attack inside the 22 meters.
Hurry up.
A little bit of hold up as Sandesh Jayavikrama is being tended to. I am corrected. It's actually Sudesh Jayavikrama who is being tended to, not Sandesh.
Time on.
Well, you have this problem, isn't it, Sudarshan, of mentioning the elder brothers' names of players who are currently playing.
Yes, Sandesh Sudesh, Lennox Filio. Should stick to their surname.
Yeah, don't do that.
Here's Royal with their tried and tested mode of attack. Driving with their way through. Looking for options. Use it, says the referee. Bonica breaks away.
Roll away, roll away.
Roll away is the call from the referee to the beat right.
Release it. Clear release, clear release.
Royal now in the red zone of the opposition, wanting to capitalize. They have the advantage, 2-point advantage in their favor. Can they go all the way? We will have to wait and see. But remember, it's crunch time. You need to try and collect all the bonus points you need. As we say that, Royal make a mistake and are not able to continue, have the continuity.
Next time. මට පේන දේ මම කරනවා. රෙෆරි කෙනෙකුත් එතන ඉන්නවා. ඔයාලගේ සෙල්ලම් කරන්න.
This Royal just seemed to be getting a bit of momentum, but then again an unforced error, taking that extra roll which is not permitted. It's an opportunity for Peter Wrights to clear their lines.
මචං ඔය ගානවා කියන අපිට බලන්නකෝ.
Win the Dibel with the kicking duties now for St. Peter's College. Played as the first 5-8 last season, this time around.
Again Royal just attacking through the fringes, but
not managing to keep their
body weight. It was not the extra roll, it was just not managing to keep their body weight. So little bit of indiscipline. Sometimes the refs do let to tend that allow the attacking team to get away with it, but not on this occasion.
It took off the opportunity of the opposition players to try and contest for that ball. So in essence, killing the ball and killing the momentum of the game. So that's why referee was very quick to pounce on that.
Peter Wrights to throw into the line out.
Royal now penalised for not receding 10 meters. This is going to be an interesting one because St. Peter's need to strike, but they, in no uncertain terms, are pointing at the post. One says, the skipper says, no, we go to touch. The kicker says, we'll go to the post, which will give you a 1-point advantage. I'm with the kicker. You got to go for points.
As well as if the kicker is willing and has the confidence, you've got to let him take it, isn't it, Sudarshana? But the skipper decided that he'd rather go play the territorial game and try and launch an attack from the 22.
Go the Japanese way. Make sure that you win this one comfortably and make sure that you put your opposition team under pressure. 50 minutes on our clock. Royal 5, St. Peter's 3. Built to be a blockbuster, it has been a stop-start affair. No lack of rivalry though, as the Pete Wrights now inside the 22 meters. Well, everything's happening here. Everything happening here.
Yes, there's just too much indecision in that line out, isn't it? The Pete Wrights were going up and down and they're taking a lot of time as well. So the referee deciding to award the free kick in Royal's favour. Kalyanarathne needs to find good touch. And he does well, just about 5 meters inside the halfway mark. So the referee indicating that the Pete Wrights were going in and out of the line out.
Everything to play for. This time, Royal get their line out right. The big lanky forwards managing to get it. Senanayaka to Kalyanarathne. Here's Filio Kalyanarathne. Puts the man in space. Has support. Oh well. Did he mistake the side he was running at Abdullah? Because he came crashing into Kalyanarathne. Now Royal managing to set it up, get their forwards in motion. This is what's ideal for Royal. Play it close. Keep it close to the big men who know to manage sign, who know to manage possession and keep it close to each other. This can frustrate oppositions. And if you can try and get a penalty from this position onwards, Abdullah, that will be golden. 8 points to 3 reads much better than 5 points to 3. Royal now opting to send it out. Here's Senanaika, Randall Senanaika. Royal playing with advantage. Senanaika still on the move. Goes to the ground, makes the ball available. Navodya on the ground, but that will be held up. But Royal were playing with advantage, so they will be looking to try and capitalize with that advantage. Interesting call to be made. Do you go for 3 points or do you go to the side?
Yes, I think you've just got to go to the side, isn't it? There's a bit of an angle to it as well. Peter Wrights are down a player as well. Royal have just got to put it to the corner and go, and looks like that's exactly what they'll be doing.
Oh, Filio, I can tell you a lot of the Royals were very nervous whether it actually crossed from the goal line. That would have been disastrous for Royal College, because now all they need is for their hooker to make sure that he delivers this ball straight. Pete Wright not competing in the line out. They want to sack this. Sacking attempt not successful. Royal setting it up. Their number 2 at the back, safely with the ball. Farooq will be having his eyes on the line. Royal Mall goes. Now it's dislodged. Reaching for the line. Good defensive work by St. Peter's. Still making it available. Royal College looking for that second score and the score that may put them clear in this game and win their opening game. Peters trying to spoil it. Senanaika to Hassan. That's an unforced error yet again, creeping through. St. Peter's with a massive sigh of relief. Now will be looking to get away.
Well, that was a real missed opportunity by Royal. A real confidence booster for the Peterites as well, because you probably sense that they got away with it. I would have liked to see Randall just take the ball up, isn't it? He didn't need to make that pass to Tanvir. He broke a couple of tackles earlier on, but decided to offload. And the Peterites, is it just the confidence that they needed? They got their full complement of players back on the field.
Crunch time all around the park. 19 points to 13 at Mount Lavinia. St. Thomas is in the lead. 10 points all in Bogambara. 5 minutes to go in Bogambara. 5 meters scrum in favor of Trinity. Here's Royal. Filio stand pass to Senanaika. The fluency in the line that we saw during sevens, not seen here, as Royal College succumbed to the pressure from St. Peter's College. Now there is no argument. Skipper comes and tells Eshanka Bekon in no uncertain terms that we are going for 3 points.
Yes, well, you have to really question the Royal tactics, isn't it? That three-quarter, they were just spreading it in their own half. Everyone was taking the passes back. No one was running at the line. Yahya is not the kind of player you want to take the ball into contact. And the Peterites did brilliantly well to counter-attack and very correctly penalized for not releasing. It's not very clever by Royal, really, in your own half. Just trying to spread. There was no endeavor, no clear objective what they were trying to achieve. It was just being spread out for the sake of it. And as a result, an opportunity for Shihara to send the Peterites into the lead.
57 minutes on our clock. Shihara lining this kick up can win it for St. Peter's College with his boot. Connection is good. Has the distance. No problem with the direction. 6 points to nil as Bamba Brigade and Bambalapitiya erupts here at St. Peter's College. Yumet Shihara, the lone scorer for St. Peter's College, get their second.
Yeah, so the Peterites, soon as they got their full complement of players back, did brilliantly well to thwart that Royal attack on their goal line. And now they have come storming back to further to get back into the lead.
Hassan with the ball. And St. Peter's College now making plays, calling shots here at Bambalapitiya at their home grounds. They want to make sure that they control this game with just over 10 minutes to go on our clock. Slightly more might be available in the referee's clock because there have been so many stoppages.
Yes, you can just sense the momentum shift in this game, isn't it, Sudarshana? Roy, I think just that terrific defensive effort by the Peterites on their goal line just gave them that the boost that they needed and the confidence they needed. It's still 6-5. We're approaching the last 12 minutes or 11 minutes of this game. So St. Peter's deciding to go to the front of the line out. They managed to win possession. Taking the ball up. Royal penalized for not, or hands in the ruck as it were. So momentum truly going in favor of the Peterites.
Everything going against the Royalists in the past couple of plays, Abdullah, since that terrific goal line defense like you mentioned. Since then it has been all Peters. It has been St. Peter's dominating that. So we get confirmation from Mount Lavinia. St. Thomas's winning their opening game against Wesley College, grabbing the Oliver Gunratna trophy.
So the Peterites gone to a three-man line out. Interesting to see the options they will take. Deciding to go in front of the line out, but Royal defense up to it. Nonetheless, Peterites have managed to retain possession, deciding to go out wide. Looking for the kick ahead, but some good cover defense by Royal.
No, it's okay.
Azek just kicking the ball ahead,
It's okay.
but not finding much ground.
Interesting, isn't it? Getting away from jail option has been a real struggle for Royal College. The kicking hasn't really clicked, so it's important that they try and get that right. Try and get the kicking right, because if you can't get out of jail when you're in a sticker situation, that's going to really harm you going forward. St. Peter's now trying to spread it out wide. They have a lot of confidence here. Oh, a little bit of a tip tackle, no harm done. Referee Abekon pays no heed to it.
This is really good by St. Peter's. They are controlling possession, trying to draw that penalty in their favor. Royal defense holding strong thus far, but the Peterites, we're looking for some options. Creating that one-on-one situation, but nothing happening there. Nonetheless, the Peterites managing to retain possession, just creating another phase. Again, Peterites, they're doing really well to hold on to possession. Unfortunately, the ball knocked on. You just sense that the Peterites do have a bit of momentum going their way. And who could blame them after that terrific goal line defensive effort? Royal just seemed to be a little bit out of ideas. Well, as predicted, Sudarshana, this has really been a real armed wrestle, isn't it?
Number 8 off, number 8.
Lot of suspense, but not much thrills, as it were.
Oh, absolutely. I think this has been one of those games that has really come down to the wire. Anyone, absolutely anyone, can win it from here on. 6 points to 5. Just 1 point separating the two teams.
So penalized for an illegal scrum. You can scrum drive just 1 meter as it were in the schools rugby, so I think it went over that 1 meter mark. So Kalyanarathne need to get good touch. Does well this time, just inside the Peterites half. So just approaching last few minutes of this game. Peterites leading 6 points to 5.
Set.
Well. News from Bogambara. Dharmaraj College have broken the Trinity Hearts. Last minute try converted, 17 points to 15. Dharmaraj getting their first victory against the Trinitians in their history. Massive upsets all around the park. What will turn out to be here as Royal College going with the advantage. Royal still going with the maul. Royal on the charge with possession and advantage in their favor. Peterites trying to hold on to that slender lead. Royal have multiple penalties coming in their favor.
It's an opportunity for Royal to get inside the Peterite 22. Kalyanarathne finds good touch. So this could be the final opportunity for Royal.
65 minutes on our clock. Here's how Royal received the penalty. There was a player that's completely dangerous. Now Royal College lining it up. Not collected cleanly. Peterites are jubilant because they know the danger when Royal collects close to the try line. Clearance, not finding touch, and play, ignoble play. Nabil Yahya doesn't collect it cleanly. Ball handling for Royal College hasn't been up to the mark. 6 points to 5. Our clock says 66 minutes, but it all boils down to what the clock says in the man in the middle. Ishanka Bekon decides there's still more time to play. Madhugashpe barking out instructions to the Peterites, telling them there's still more time to go.
9, hurry up. Crouch!
Here's St. Peter's. Can put this game to bed. Jaya Vikrama to Tarindo. Tarindo gives it out to the winger. Big hit on him by the Royal defense. Royal need to do something extraordinary here to try and get out from their red zone and go all the way. Peters come away with a penalty.
Number 19.
Number 19 of Royal College, that's Shyam, coming in from the side and infringing. Peters point to the goal post. They want to put this game to bed.
Yeah, Shihara doesn't back away from an opportunity to take a shot at goal, isn't it? It says a lot of the confidence of the young man. There have been a couple of occasions where his keeper hasn't been in favor, but he's always said, give me the tee, let me have a go.
Yes, kudos to Umesh Shihara, because it's his contribution that has Peter safe currently. With just under 2 minutes to go on our clock.
So the kick, which will put the final nail in Royal's coffin. Lord Shihara taking his time. A good strike off the ball. Not striking it that well, so another opportunity for Royal, taking the ball up.
Kalanaratna looking for options, looking for space. He has been one of the better players for Royal. Here's Yaya. Yaya's kick doesn't find touch. Cardinal error. This could really hamper them as Bandara collects it. Kushan Tarindu's pass has gone forward. So another opportunity for Royal College. They cannot afford to kick this one out. You can't kick possession away in the last 2 minutes of the game, Abdullah, when you're 1 point behind. You need to try and get into the opposition half.
Yes, they've just got to control possession, isn't it? That's the key for Royal. They just shouldn't body too much or trying to score off the first phase or second phase. Just be a bit patient. Maybe take up a hit with the Randula from that first, second receiver position. Create a few phases, try and draw a penalty from the Peterites. Last thing I think they should do is go wide.
Then move. Then you can move.
Again, a very strong scrum by the Peterites.
Up.
Decide to go out wide. Kalyan Ratna to Yahya.
Here's Sudesh Jaya Vikrama. That is going to be the final nail in the coffin for Royal College. The Bamba Brigade joins in the celebrations. They are already celebrating with the fans mobbing the field. They need to clear it out because there's more time. Everybody celebrating, but the referee still did not award the try. So it'll be interesting to see. Here's another look. Lost forward. Sudesh Jaya Vikram saying, thank you very much. How about that for a somersault case? And the referee has awarded the tie actually. It's 11 points to 5. What a comeback from St. Peter's College, who looked like they were under a lot of pressure, with the scoreline leading 3 points to 5. Last year's skipper redeeming himself, trying to do everything he can to win this one.
So we're just talking before that scrum, isn't it, Sudarshan, that Royal shouldn't go wide from that first phase. It hasn't been a success for them, but they decided to do so. Yahya fumbling under pressure and Jaya Vikrama pouncing on that loose ball. So Shihara to put the finishing touches to what no doubt will be a memorable victory for the Peterites. You'd have to say well deserved as well. They were under a lot of pressure, especially in the second half. But to their credit, some staunch defense, especially on their own goal line, turning the tables on Royal. So Shihara taking his time. Strikes it. It's not successful, but that's it. That's the final whistle. A very good victory for the Peterites to kickstart their season. 11 points to 5. And this will give them a lot of confidence moving forward, you'd have to say. From Royal's point of view, they had their opportunities, but just far too many unforced errors. And we'll have a lot of reflecting to do in order for them to bounce back for the rest of the season.
Abdullah will have to decide on the NDB player of the match. It has been a real arm struggle, like you mentioned, but I think for the win, we will have to go with somebody from the Bamba Brigade, St. Peter's College, who have been pretty decent with their performance, and it's a real difficult one. One of the nominations that I can put forward is the person who had the last say in the game, Shihara, who is kind of the difference when it comes to who is kind of the difference when you take the two teams. 5 points all, if not for Shihara's 2 kicks.
Yes, and his positional play was pretty good as well, Sudarshan. So I think we'll go for that. We know how much pressure the kickers are under. Royal haven't any points to show from their point of view in terms of kicks from the tee. So yes, I think I'd agree with you. So our man of the match, NDB man of the match, is Umet Shihara for his good work done from the kicking tee, as well his general positional play as well. So just the start the Peterites would have wanted. It was not the prettiest game, Sudarshana, but I think both teams, as we mentioned at the start of the game, will just want to get that win, isn't it, under their belt. I've no doubt both these teams will get better as the season progresses. But just for the here and now, Peterites will definitely savor this victory.
Oh, absolutely. They will definitely savor this one, especially given the fact that it came after a lot of struggle. They had to make sure that they fight for it up until the very last minute of the game. And Sandesh Jayavikrama's try makes the scoreline look a lot more comfortable than it actually was for the Bamba Brigade. But what a game it has been. It has been a very close struggle. It wasn't too pretty on the eye. That we would give, but St. Peter's College will be very, very happy that they managed to get their season off to a winning start. Royal, on the other hand, like Abdullah mentioned, I think they will have to really focus on the fact that they haven't been able to get out of jail. Their kicking hasn't been good. The connections hasn't been good. The halfback first 5-8 connection was questionable with the young Shafiq coming in and Tivain Pereira not getting the distribution that he's used to. That was a little bit of a backstay for Royal College, but mostly I think Royal will be a lot concerned about how their forwards couldn't dominate the game, how their forwards couldn't dominate the first down collisions and the close quarters collisions of the game, Abdullah.
Yes, I think that will get better as the season progresses, but what Royal need to really sit down and think is, are they playing to their strengths? I just don't think they did that. Tactically, they were really found wanting in this game. They were going wide when repeatedly they were not gaining any headway. Just before that last scrum itself, we were talking that Royal shouldn't go wide because they haven't been able to make any inroads into that Peterite defense out wide. They did that. They fumbled. The Peterite defense. Jai Vikram was brilliant to pounce on that loose ball and put the finishing touches. So a lot of contemplation for Royal to do as well. They'll need to, the material is there, but tactically I think they just need to decide on how they have to use their strengths to the best of their ability. From the Peterites' point of view, I think they'll be very happy with their performance in terms of their defensive effort, because there were a couple of occasions where Royal went right close to the try line but were pushed back by some really last-minute desperate defense. And you'd have to say that the Peterites, at the end of the day, definitely deserve their victory.
Full-time confirmation, 11 points to 5 in favor of St. Peter's College. No bonus points for St. Peter's College despite losing. Royal College will be happy that they managed to get the bonus point. Naimeris Kochibites from Keel's Crest. Ideal for all your parties, hangouts, the bites that bites back. Today at the Peterite Lounge here at Bambalapitiya, this will be one of the favored bites. St. Peter's College, jubilant. Royal College have a lot of thinking to do, have a lot of soul searching to do in order to make sure that they try and develop from this on. Highlights of the second half, it has been all St. Peter's. Royal College managed to get their nose in front with this driving maul. Good pressure put in, and then their hooker, the number 2, managing to get the ball down and make sure that they were still alive in the game. But here, the indecision. They did not have that running lines plan. Yahya was under a lot of pressure and did not look like himself. Nabil Yahya of last season was absolutely terrific and was one of those players who really dominated. And the NDB player of the match, Shihara, making sure that St. Peter's got that advantage. Lineouts not going to hand. Not ideal for Royal, and St. Peter's got away with it. This one was another close call for St. Peter's. Royal trying to upset it, coming from the side, conceded a penalty. Shihara's kick was found wanting. But here's where the game was really closed down. Sudesh Jayavikrama picking up the loose ball, scoring with a somersault as the Peterites joined in the celebrations. Shihara's conversion not finding the mark did not have any impact in the game. Terrific stuff from St. Peter's to make sure that they get the W in their opening game and making sure that they give their home fans who rocked in numbers to Bambalapitiya a game to remember. Key stats of the game, 11 points to 5 in favor of St. Peter's College. Royal taking home the losing bonus points. 1 try each from both the teams, but the 2 penalties scored by St. Peter's College, making sure that they went the distance. NDB player of the match, Yumet Shihara of St. Peter's College, and it was a real arm tussle here at Bambalapitiya. Well, one more game remaining in the opening week of the Dialog Schools Rugby League. Will the defending champions get their green machine rolling, or will Kinsut College, the boys from the Randalls Hills, deliver a massive upset up in Bogambara tomorrow, 18th June at 4 p.m. Make sure that you log on to www.thepapare.com to make sure that you catch the action. And week 2 of the Dialog Schools Rugby League is going to be another interesting one. The Antonians taking on DSN Anayaka College. That's up in Pallekele. The Eagles, who are flying high after their opening game victory, will want to make sure that they keep their season on to a winning note. DSN Anayaka College, of course, playing their first game in the second round, with them receiving a bye in the first round. Tomians have gotten their first victory under the belt, so they will play with confidence at home against Isipatana. That's also on 24th of June at Mount Lavinia, with Wesley College taking on St. Joseph's College. Both teams losing their game in the first week will want a win to kickstart their season. Dharmaraja College got a morale boosting victory just short while ago against Trinity College. The first victory of their history against Trinity. Will want to make sure that they continue their winning streak against Zahira College, who are newcomers to the league. Science College will take on Royal College at Mount Lavinia at Science College grounds, and Royal College will want to make sure that they get their win and their season kick-started with that game, whereas Science will be looking for their first win as well, having gone down to Vidyartha yesterday. Vidyartha winning their first game against Science will meet Trinity College, their hometown rivals, who will be hurt and will be bleeding definitely after their loss to Dharmaraja today. Well, that is it from us here at Bambalapitiya. Abdullah Yusuf, Shanaka, Amar Singh and myself, along with the Papare.com production and the technical crew. Thank you so much for joining the telecast, and I really hope that you enjoyed this as much as we enjoyed it. Enjoyed bringing it to you. Until we meet you tomorrow from Bogambara, it's adios from Bambalapitiya.
Cheese රසට යාළුව සෙට් එක ස්මයිලි බෙදනවා ඕන වෙලාවක ස්නැක් එක දැක්කම හිත ෆික්ස් වෙනවා සරට කැමති අය දවස පුරාවට සැරයිල්ලනවා කැලිප්සෝ මික්ස් එක ඕන වෙලාවක නැගලම යනවා බෝරින් ලයිෆ් එක බ්‍රේක් අප් කරගෙන සල්සා නටනවා ලුණු රටාවට අනියන් කික් එක ෆුල් හැපනින් වෙනවා මංචි රටටම රස බෙදෙන මංජි රස බලකාය දැන් අලුත් වෙලා
Beautiful outside and inside.
මේ ජොබ් එක අදම කරන්න ඕනේ. අදම? No problem.
ඕගොල්ලොත් එන්නේ ඉවෙන්ට් එකට. ඩ්‍රෙස් කෝඩ් එක black.
Black? No problem.
නව වැඩි දියුණු කළ ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් ඇක්ටිව් ක්ලිම්බසෝල් පළමු සේදීමෙන්ම ඉස්සොරි ඉවත් කරයි. ස්වභාවික සාරයන් හිස පෝෂණය කරයි.
නටමුද?
No problem.
හැමදාම ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් නම්
හැමදාම no problem.
ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් හිස නිදහසේ ඉදිරියට.
Coloma, beautiful outside and inside.
Introducing NeosPay, a fun way to make payments from your Neos app. For the fun of paying, #NeosPay.
තමයි.
Coloma, beautiful outside and inside.
Hey, have you heard about Z?
ZZ. We KYC.
Easy.
Mobile banking. Crazy.
Education loans and salary advances.
Amazing. Introducing the Digital Youth Account. NDBZ. NDBZ from NDB Bank. The future is banking on us.
Enjoy the infinite possibilities of the freedom of space, inspired by the beauty of our land. Sri Lanka's finest finished, largest sized porcelain tile collection. Majestica. Lanka Tiles. Fine living redefined.
Your embrace so warm, with one more bite of Revelo for sunshine. Don't wanna miss this pouring rain, pleasing my soul. With one more bite of Revelo for the rain. This freedom takes me to roads that I have never been. With one more bite of Revelo for the road. Love never felt this good. With one more bite of Revelo for love. තමයි.
ඕනම දෙයක් කරන්න විදියක් තියෙනවා. ඒ තමයි තමන්ගේ විදිය. ජීවිතය අත්විඳින්න. ආත්ම විශ්වාසයෙන් නැගී සිටින්න. බෝල්ඩ් ඔපම වෙන්න. ඕනම දෙයක් කරන්න විදියක් තියෙනවා. ඒ තමයි තමන්ගේ විදිය. ජීවිතය අත්විඳින්න. ආත්ම විශ්වාසයෙන් නැගී සිටින්න. බෝල්ඩ් ඔපම වෙන්න.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the